Superhero teams are cool, that much is for sure, but are they really that good? Like, they're certainly good in the sense that they fight for justice and are the, quote, good guys, but are they really that efficient or even useful? Sure, it's exciting to see a bunch of your favorite heroes on the big screen at the same time as one another, interacting and whatnot, but does the excitement of these team-ups kind of mask the fact that these groups actually suck once they're formed?
Avengers!
If you stop to think about it for a second, superhero teams are infinitely less efficient, there's always some sort of disagreement or infighting or communication issue, and all in all, they're a lot less organized. One way or another, there's always an issue. Just take the Avengers as a prime example. In the first film, they could barely defeat Loki and a group of space invaders from completely destroying and overtaking New York. In the second installment, the team goes up against Ultron, which was entirely their fault to begin with, and it results in the destruction of an entire Eastern European nation. In Infinity War, the team takes a bona fide L to Thanos, and even in the follow-up film Endgame, it's kind of a tainted victory. Sure, they restore half of all life in the universe, but not without losing two of their main people, and a third one just up and quits. On the other hand, I can't think of a single standalone superhero MCU movie where the hero doesn't save the day with relative ease. Sure, there's always obstacles to overcome and bad guys to overthrow, but a hero never really struggles more than when they're paired up with one or multiple other heroes. The term strength in numbers just doesn't apply when we're talking about the strongest beings in the galaxy. It's more of a case of too much of a good thing. Also, the entire concept of a hero going up against a villain kind of became moot once they introduced Captain Marvel into the MCU. Like, as long as you've got her phone number, why would anyone even attempt to fight? She can handle anything without breaking a sweat. Why would you need so many heroes and special groups? It doesn't make any sense anymore. She is the draw for wildcard. Everyone else's efforts are nice, but kind of unnecessary with her around.
Hey Spanish speakers, we've got an exciting new announcement from the folks over on ScreenRant, the película, an all-Spanish channel for film theories, MCU coverage, movie news, and much more. We have videos for fans of, well, everything. So jump on over to DP's channel and let them know we sent you, in Spanish, of course. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Don't get me wrong, I understand the appeal of the superhero team. It's cool to see so many diverse heroes band together to fight a common enemy. Plus, grouping together a bunch of bankable franchises tends to do pretty decent at the box office. From a monetary perspective, they're very successful. However, from a storytelling perspective, thinking about how these teams actually function and operate, they're much worse as a unit. It's just an efficiency thing. They'd be a lot better off on their own, where they're able to exercise a lot more freedom. A superhero on their own has a lot less to lose. There's less to factor in and consider. They can move stealthily and fly under the radar. Once you start adding more individuals into the equation, no matter how awesome they may be, things are just bound to become more complicated. As is the case with most people, it's easier to work when less people are relying on you. Working as a team is a skill set unto itself, one that requires humility and the ability to trust others. That's a lot easier said than done when you're one of the most powerful supernatural beings in the universe. A superhero isn't so equipped to be a selfless member of a squad when all they probably know is how to be a superhero leader that saves the day all the time. It's like on a basketball team. You could stack a bunch of superstars together, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna win every game.
I'm not a teacher. I'm the new basketball coach.
After all, there's only one ball to go around. A better team would be to build around one or two superstars, and then individuals who know how to be role players. The role players are the key to a successful team, and it's not a mentality that most superheroes can truly grasp. They want their name in the paper. They want their face on the movie poster. They want to be stopped for selfies while trying to devour lunch made for a dozen. Superheroes are divas, plain and simple, which makes it tough when you start throwing them in a room together and tasking them with taking down the greatest threats to the galaxy. They're probably a lot better off just choosing one person to handle it, really. Let's say they chose the first Avenger based on seniority and let Captain America take down Thanos. He'd have done it no problem. There'd have been no snap and no endgame. In fact, he'd have avoided the Infinity Gauntlet altogether. Why? Because he's stealth. We've seen Cap sneak into enemy base time after time to save the day. He's a wonderful spy, which is all the Avengers really needed. It's a given that nobody was going to defeat Thanos one-on-one in physical combat, but that was never necessary. They didn't need a warrior, they needed a good cat burglar who could just swipe those stones. Heck, Black Widow probably could have done it in her sleep. All that had to happen was someone had to ensure that Thanos didn't get his big purple mitts on all of those Infinity Stones, and the snap would have been avoided. Rather than gearing up to go to battle against him, they should have just focused their energy on hiding those suckers in a decent spot so that he wouldn't be able to find them all within an hour. How did that even happen? It took him a decade of contracting out other villains to do his dirty work, but he finally got fed up and decided to just go get them all himself, and once he made that decision, it took him like 75 minutes to collect them all? It was like one busy afternoon for the guy after a literal decade of waiting on other people to get the job done. Jeez. Even when the Avengers do team up in battle, it's all kind of unnecessary, isn't it? Like, it's cool to watch, but it's also a bit silly when they start tossing weapons between each other and bouncing things off of Cap's shield and picking up Rocket and spinning him around while he fires off rounds. I know it's a superhero movie and that's kind of the point, for it to be a bit over the top and full of excitement, but at what point does the audience realize that none of that added fluff is really necessary? Look, I'm never one to complain about pageantry for the sake of pageantry, but it just seems like these superheroes are better off working solo. And that doesn't just go for the Avengers either. This is a universal truth throughout superhero content. The Fantastic Four were a dud, the X-Men have failed consistently, the Suicide Squad was a pile of garbage. I'd comment on the failures of Justice League, but I'd have to have seen the movie to make a statement on it. The movie Watchmen was basically entirely about a group of superheroes being unable to coexist with one another. Even the movie Space Jam is about a group of cartoon characters getting crushed by some bad guys until they realize that they're better off relying solely on their strongest player, and that's when Michael Jordan saves the day. It's also kind of hilarious to me that even during the children's movie Space Jam, Michael Jordan just couldn't help himself from making a high-stakes wager on a sporting event. But I digress. This theory is even prevalent in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. Bruce Wayne is an impenetrable badass in the first two movies, but shows signs of weakness in the third one once they start introducing secondary characters for him to care about. Many people Joseph Gordon loved it, but I felt like Batman was better off as a solo act without all of that baggage. I'm curious to see how the upcoming Birds of Prey movie will fare, because Harley Quinn was the lone bright spot from Suicide Squad, and is now getting her very own team to work alongside. Hopefully they don't fall victim to the same fate as the rest of these rosters, though. There's one character that could very well fall victim to this phenomenon, and that's Deadpool. Think about it. The first Deadpool movie from 2016 was incredible. Sure, he had some help from a couple friends like Weasel and Dopinder, but by no means was Deadpool a member of a team. By the second movie that came out 2 years later, though, he's standing shoulder to shoulder with a whole slew of assorted heroes, from Colossus to Domino. By the end of the movie, even Cable has joined their roster. The whole movie centered around Deadpool surrounding himself with as many additional people as possible, and for all intents and purposes, the movie wasn't as good as the first one. So now that Wade Wilson is a member of his very own squad, does that mean that the franchise's best days are behind it? The character was recently acquired by Disney from Fox, meaning there's a chance that he shows up in the MCU in the not-so-distant future. But does that even mean anything? Are Deadpool's best days behind him now that he's assembled an entire team around him? In the land of superheroes, that's the best way to ruin a career. Then again, if it wasn't for the Guardians of the Galaxy, Ego probably would have successfully taken over the entire universe, so maybe not all teams are bad. Yeah, I don't think Peter Quill was really equipped to take down his Pop single-handedly. He kind of needed the team there on that one. Maybe there's a few instances where a team is a better option. But what do you think? Are superheroes better off solo, or do you enjoy it when they team up? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed to ScreenRant to stay up to date with all of our latest releases. Until next time, bye!